my starting point in this is that our community, the British Jewish community, doesn't have many world-class institutions, I think it's fair to say. But in that very select group, and I would say it's 2 or 3 things, the Jewish Book Week, I think, is one. I think the Jewish Museum is absolutely in that place. But the third one would be Limmud, and it's world-class and truly a world phenomenon now, as you just heard from Karen, exported across the Jewish world. It means, as a community through Limmud, I think we do punch above our weight. I mean, you know, Britain is pretty marginal in world affairs, but the British Jewish community is really tiny in the whole scheme of things, and tiny within the Jewish diaspora, and yet it's created this thing that has gone global, and that's really a huge achievement. You were too modest to say who it was you were quoting from, but I can see over your shoulder, Kenny Shalev, I think, you know, big influential columnist for Haaretz, paying a huge compliment to the Limmud and wanting this to be a model that is exported throughout the community. So I think that's a huge thing. It's very, very appropriate that we're in the Jewish Museum, not just because it's a wonderful institution, set to be even more wonderful under the leadership of Abigail Morris, but there's a very specific connection, which is just going to be the theme for the short couple of minutes I'm going to speak about, and that is the exhibition that I think, I don't know whether he's your husband, but you refer to as your support network. He is one person I just saw speaking to you before. He's upstairs pushing the children around, I think. And this is the exhibition of photographs by Judah Passau, No Place Like Home. I was very lucky to get to a sneak preview of those pictures. And I just think the idea of you, Limmud, volunteers, meeting in the same place as this exhibition is absolutely perfect timing. The theme that comes out of the No Place Like Home exhibition is the sense in which British Jews now are kind of out and proud. And I don't think this was always true. It certainly wasn't true for my parents' generation. I think it is true now. There was a kind of slightly sort of cultural cringe, embarrassment before, certainly 2 generations ago, and I would say 1 generation ago. You know, I always say this, and it usually gets a sort of murmur of recognition. That was the generation where people said, do you know the people over there, they've just moved in there? But they, I don't know, did his mother go? Well, but, you know, people didn't even want to say the word amongst each other. And that is now gone. And the visible proof of it, I think, if you look around, the brilliant photographs, is the one of the football player. It's in a locker room. It could be a locker room anywhere, changing room. But there's a tattoo on the back of this player's neck as he's changing, and it's in Hebrew. And it's the word Israel in Hebrew on his neck. Now, you know, I'm not suggesting many of us are walking around with the word literally tattooed like that on us, but I think it shows a shift. I think people were more hesitant and closed before, more private, and now they're not. And so that's the theme of the exhibition. Part of this phenomenon of being out and proud is Limmud. I mean, people who before felt that being Jewish was something maybe, you know, at home or in their religious community, to instead dedicate a week of the winter break, let's call it that, to being with other Jews in this very overt way. I think it's part of this new, this generational shift. So it's reflected in the pictures, and it's reflected in what you do with women. The second thing about our community, much as there are those who would deny it, is our plurality and the diversity of this community. And what that actually means is that people are British Jews. We're small in number, but, you know, my word, we have a huge number of variations and varieties. And that's reflected upstairs, pictures of Reform rabbis, liberal rabbis, Orthodox rabbis, ultra-Orthodox rabbis, Federation rabbis, all of them there reflected, and that is absolutely what's one of the joys of Limmud, I've always felt, is that it may be the only place, actually, where, sadly not all, but a huge proportion of that diversity is reflected, and the sheer range of Jewish expressions, and there's a photograph there, you know, inevitably the one that's been picked up, of a kind of Jewish punk, really, Mohican, talking to an older guy, both sort of shrugging like this. And it just shows there is this plurality. Limmud is the best expression I can think of that, because mostly if you travel around our community, you will visit a Reform synagogue or an Orthodox synagogue, you know, a lesbian and gay congregation or one that isn't, but you wouldn't get them all in one place. And in Limmud, you do, and I think that's a huge strength. And then the third thing, which comes out of the exhibition upstairs, and indeed what I think was the driving purpose of the exhibition, is to show that life goes on across these islands, that there is Jewish life in Belfast and in Scotland and in Wales and in corners of England, besides just London and Manchester. And you just have to look around the room here with the posters for the individual one-day Limmuds, Leeds and Harrow, Manchester are there. I know just from the sheer number of invitations which I've had to decline, there are Limmuds in all kinds of places, South London and Surrey and Sussex and heaven knows where else. So it is part of our strength as a community. I think probably the demographic reality is that is shrinking in terms of our presence in all corners of these islands. But where it exists, Limmud is there, and that's a really, really, really great strength. It isn't, in other words, just a sort of London phenomenon. What you're doing is really across the whole United Kingdom. So that's especially true, I think, of Limmud as well. As I said, out and proud, plural and diverse, and spread across these islands. It's a very, very wonderful thing. It means altogether that I think Limmud is really a jewel of this community. Jewel rather than jewel, sorry. Jewel of this community. It is something world class. It probably is our only international export from Anglo-Jewry, and long, long, long may it continue. And it only continues because of hard work all of you do. I know this because in my own household we were involved, my wife particularly, in the preparations for Hackney Limmud, and if that is even indicative slightly of the stress and hard work that goes into it, then I know what goes into it. So it's a brilliant thing, a jewel that is very, very precious, and just speaking actually as a member of this community, I'm very grateful to all of you for the work you do. So good luck and thank you.
Thank you.